In this video, we show how the Team-Based Learning Score, TBL, is calculated in detail from the average task contribution and the average learning contribution, which in turn are calculated from the individual PeerAssess Pro survey ratings. Finally, we show the calculation for the Team-Based Learning Index, which is used as the basis for calculating various personal results.
Calculation of average task contribution. Here we see a team of 4 team members. In this case, team member Abel is rated by his other 3 team members, Baker, Charlie, and David. Abel has been rated against the 5 attributes which contribute to task contribution: initiative, attendance, contribution, and so on. Each team member, such as Baker, has rated Abel against those 5 attributes and gives rise to his average rating, 3.2. Charlie, his average rating is 1.8. David, his average rating is 4.2. The average of all 3 of these numbers gives rise to the average task contribution, 3.1. In the same way, the average leadership contribution is calculated from the 5 attributes. And let's suppose the average leadership contribution in this case is 4.5. So in summary, team member Abel has an average task contribution of 3.1 and an average leadership contribution of 4.5. Now we're going to look at the calculation of Team-Based Learning Score. The Team-Based Learning Score is calculated from the average task contribution and the average leadership contribution. There's a few numbers in here, 12.5 and -2. That's to ensure that the TBL scores range from 0 to 100. Why is that? That's because the individual ratings and consequently the average task contribution, they range between 1 and 5. So we have to do these multiplications and the scaling. Let's look at an example now. Here's our 4 team members, and we have team member Abel's task contribution and leadership contribution calculated as we showed in the previous slide. Note how in this case, Baker, who received the lowest rating of 1 on the 5-point scale of 1 through 5, Baker receives a team-based learning score of 0. At the other extreme, David received the highest rating of 5, and he gets a team-based learning score of 100. Charlie, he's rated in the middle of the 1 to 5-point scale and gets a team-based learning score of 50. In a future example, we're going to look at a more typical situation where the numbers are spread across the range like this. I've changed David's score to 2.6 so that he gets a team-based learning score of 41.
Let's look now at how we calculate the Team-Based Learning Index from the Team-Based Learning Score. The key principle of the Team-Based Learning Index is that the top-ranked student in each team receives a Team-Based Learning Index of 100, and every other student in the team receives a TBLI rated in proportion to that number downwards. Here are our 3 team members from the earlier examples, and here are the Team-Based Learning Scores we calculated earlier. Note that in this example, Abel has received the maximum Team-Based Learning Score of 71. Consequently, the Team-Based Learning Index for Abel is 100 and the other team members receive a proportionately lower team-based learning index. Let's look now at what happens if David achieved a perfect team-based learning score of 100. Now we see that David receives the team-based learning index of 100 and the other team members receive a proportionately lower team-based learning index. Let's return now to the original calculations which we will use in further examples.